ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਸੋਚ ਟੀਵੀ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਇੰਦਰਜੀਤ ਕਾਲੀਰਾਏ। ਆਪਣੇ ਕੈਲੀਫੋਰਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪ੍ਰਾਇਮਰੀ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨਸ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ। ਪੋਲੀਟੀਕਲ ਜੋ ਡਿਸਕਸ਼ਨਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਹੁਣ ਰੈਸਟ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੇ ਹੈ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਆਪਣੇ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੈਲੀਫੋਰਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਜੂਨ ਮਹੀਨਾ ਜੋ ਹੈਗਾ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਡ ਮੰਥ ਕਿਹਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ। ਜੋ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਡ ਮੰਥ ਹੈਗਾ ਇਸ ਦੀ ਰੈਕਗਨੀਸ਼ਨ ਇਹ ਹੈਗੇ ਪਏ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਣੇ LGBTQ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, ਇਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਸੈਲੀਬ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਰੈਕਗਨੀਸ਼ਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਹੈਗਾ। ਤੇ LGBTQ ਹੈਗਾ ਲੈਸਬੀਅਨ, ਗੇ, ਬਾਈ, ਟਰਾਂਸਜੈਂਡਰ, ਕੁਇਰ, ਜੋ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਲੇਬਲ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਬਰੀਵੀਏਟ ਕਰਕੇ LGBTQ ਲੇਬਲ ਬਣਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ। ਹਰੇਕ ਸਾਲ ਜੂਨ ਦੇ ਮਹੀਨੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੈਕਗਨੀਸ਼ਨ ਔਰ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਡ ਮੰਥ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਕਾਫੀ ਦੇਰ ਤੋਂ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਚਰਚਾ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਤੇ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੇ ਜਿਹੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਚੈਲੰਜਸ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ, ਆਪਣੇ ਰਹਿਤ ਮਰਿਆਦਾ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਧਰਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਔਰ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਧਰਮ, ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨ, ਇਸਲਾਮ, ਬੁੱਧਿਜ਼ਮ, ਕ੍ਰਿਸਚੀਅਨਿਟੀ, ਸਾਰੇ ਬੇਸਿਕਲੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਥੀਓਲੋਜੀਕਲੀ ਇਸ ਲਾਈਫ ਸਟਾਈਲ ਨੂੰ, ਇਸ LGBT ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਇਹ ਅੱਛਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੰਨਦੇ, ਔਰ ਕਾਫੀ ਚੈਲੰਜਸ ਵੀ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਧਾਰਮਿਕ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ। ਇਹ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਰੈਕਗਨਾਈਜ਼ ਤਾਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜੋ ਆਈਡੀਓਲੋਜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਤੇ ਥੋੜਾ ਬਰਖਲਾਫ ਹੈ। ਇੱਕ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੁਣ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਤੋਂ ਗੱਲ ਚੱਲੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਵੀ ਮੈਰਿਜ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, ਰਾਈਟ ਟੂ ਮੈਰਿਜ, ਕਾਫੀ ਦੇਰ ਤੋਂ ਇਹ ਆਰਗੂਮੈਂਟ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ। ਕਾਨੂੰਨਨ ਬਾਈ ਲਾ ਇਹ ਹੁਣ ਸੈਂਕਸ਼ਨ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਵੀ ਮੈਰਿਜ ਦੋ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਵੀ ਕਰਾ ਸਕਦੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ, ਦੋ ਮਰਦ ਵੀ ਕਰਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਧਾਰਮਿਕ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਚੈਲੰਜ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ, ਚਾਹੇ ਕ੍ਰਿਸਚੀਅਨ ਹੈ ਚਾਹੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਉਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਲਾਈਫ ਸਟਾਈਲ ਦੇ ਪਰਸਨਲੀ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਹੈਗੇ ਹਾਂ, ਚਾਹੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੋਲੀਟੀਕਲੀ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਹੈਗੇ ਹਾਂ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਧਾਰਮਿਕ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਜੋ ਰਹਿਤ ਮਰਿਆਦਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਜੋ ਆਪਣੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਆਨੰਦ ਕਾਰਜ ਦੀ ਰਸਮ ਬਣਾਈ ਸੀ, ਉਹ ਜੋ ਹੈਗਾ ਇਹ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ। ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਇਸ ਸੈਕਰਾਮੈਂਟੋ ਕੈਲੀਫੋਰਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਔਰ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਇੰਸੀਡੈਂਟ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਦੋ ਮਰਦਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਨੰਦ ਕਾਰਜ ਕਰਾਇਆ ਹੈਗਾ। 2-2.5 ਸਾਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਨੇ, ਇੱਥੇ ਸੈਕਰਾਮੈਂਟੋ ਵੀ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ। ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਫੀ ਚਰਚਾ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਅੰਤ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਰੇ ਚੁੱਪ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ। ਅੱਜ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਅਮੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ, ਜੋ ਸੈਕਰਾਮੈਂਟੋ ਕੈਲੀਫੋਰਨੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਖਿਆਲਾਤ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕੀਤੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਵੈਸੇ ਵੀ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਸਾਡੇ ਗੁਆਂਢੀ ਹੈ, ਸੈਕਰਾਮੈਂਟੋ 'ਚ ਰਹਿਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਨੇ। ਔਰ ਇਹ ਡਿਸਕਸ਼ਨ ਤੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਸ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਵੀ ਪਬਲਿਕਲੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਡਿਸਕਸ਼ਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ, ਔਰ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਦੇਖਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰੋ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੇ ਖਿਆਲਾਤ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰ ਸਕੋ। ਈਮੇਲ ਹੈਗੀ ਨੇ ajkalamerica@outlook.com। ਉਸ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਭੇਜੋ, ਇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਦੱਸੋ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੀ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਕਰਕੇ। ਇਸ਼ੂ ਹੈ ਕਾਫੀ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ, ਇਸਲਾਮ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਉਹ ਓਪਨ ਡਿਸਕਸ਼ਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਮੰਗਦੇ। ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕੰਟਰੋਵਰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਤੇ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈਗੀ। ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਕੰਟਰੋਵਰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਲਿਜਾ ਰਹੇ, ਪੋਲੀਟੀਕਲੀ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਚੈਲੰਜ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ। ਜੋ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗਾ, ਆਪਣੀ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਹੈਗਾ, ਮਾਨਸ ਕੀ ਏਕੋ ਜਾਤ। ਸਾਰੇ ਜੋ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ, ਜੋ ਵੀ ਲਾਈਫਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ, ਜਾਨ ਹੈ ਚਾਹੇ ਜਾਨਵਰ ਹੈ ਚਾਹੇ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਬਖਸ਼ੀ ਹੈ। ਤੇ ਜੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਬਖਸ਼ੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਮਾਨਸ ਕੀ ਇੱਕੋ ਜਾਤ ਹੈ। ਫਰਕ ਕੀ ਰਹਿ ਗਿਆ? ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਸਟਾਈਲ ਉਹਨੇ ਚੂਜ਼ ਕੀਤੀ ਆ। ਕਈ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਬਾਇਓਲੋਜਿਕਲੀ ਉਸੇ ਹੀ ਪ੍ਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਲਾਈਫ ਸਟਾਈਲ 'ਚ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਹੋਇਆ। ਉਹਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਚੈਲੰਜ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਇਹ ਡਿਸਕਸ਼ਨ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਰੀਏ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਸਿੱਖ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਧਰਮ ਹੈਗਾ ਇਹ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਐਕਸੈਪਟ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਇਹ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਫੈਲਦੀ ਆ, ਔਰ ਕਿਆ ਇਹਦੀ ਐਕਸੈਪਟੈਂਸ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ, ਔਰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਘਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੇ ਹਾਜ਼ਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਆਨੰਦ ਕਾਰਜ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ, ਹੋਣੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ, ਦੋ ਮਰਦ ਦੋ ਔਰਤਾਂ, ਔਰ ਕਿਆ ਆਨੰਦ ਕਾਰਜ ਇਹੀ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਬੀਬੀ ਇੱਕ ਮਰਦ ਬੰਦਾ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਘਰ ਗ੍ਰਸਤੀ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਹੋਵੇ, ਬੱਚੇ ਪਾਲਣ ਉਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਇਨਸਾਨੀਅਤ ਪੀੜ੍ਹੀਆਂ ਚੱਲਦੀਆਂ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਉਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਚੱਲਣ। ਆਓ ਜੀ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਆ ਅਮੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਨਾਲ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ। ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ, ਅਮੀਤ ਜੀ। We have discussed this topic offline. I gave a generalized discussion point for what we're going to talk about. And we're going to do this discussion in English. And one of the reasons is that many of our community members, younger generation, who reside in California, in America, across the globe, English is a common language, and the younger generation would be able to understand it better. And personally, I grew up in England. I am not able to, converse completely in Punjabi or Gurmukhi or even Hindi. So my idea is that on this conversation we do English so we can reach out to a larger audience. First of all, Ameet ji, can you give us a brief introduction to Ameet Singh from Sacramento?
First of all, I'd like to say Waheguru Ji Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Fateh. And I'd like to thank you for inviting me to the show. Um, I'm from Fiji Island. I came to USA in 2000. And when I came to USA, I was 28 years old. In Fiji, our ancestors from India migrated to Fiji Island. The first batch came in about 1800, late 1800, came as an indentured labor system. But my Nanaji, my maternal grandfather, and my Babaji, my paternal grandfather, came in 1940s, and both of them were Sikh. They were Punjabis, and they came in and they married the local women out there, and they were mostly following Hindu religion. And then when our grandfather came in, Nanaji and Babaji, they made sure the Sikh Dharam, the Sikh religion stays with family, and that's how we grew up as a Sikh. And then when I migrated to America, started living my life as a Sikh. But my real awakening came into Sikh in around 2017. So I was born Sikh. I lived the life of a Sikh, but not too much was involved in it. But when I came to 2017 is when my real awakening, my self awakening came into Sikhi, and that's when I let my cash grow and started wearing turbans, and that's how I got involved. And my work background is mostly I'm from a mechanical engineering, and I do run a little farm in Colusa County, and pretty much now I devote my life learning about Sikhi. And in 2016 it is when I got involved with the politics in USA, and I started researching and understanding the politics and the history of USA, and understanding what's conservative is, and what's liberal is, and all that I started learning from 2016. And that's when in 2016 is when Mr. Obama introduced us the term acronym LGBTQ, and that's when I started understanding more about it. So my coming into politics was 2016. Me coming into real Sikhi, understanding about and learning about Sikhi was also in 2017. So they went hand to hand together. And today I'm here 2022, and I do my best to blog out there as a conservative and also as a Sikhi. Thank you.
Thank you very much on that, Amit ji. In my intro, I had a short, brief detail on Guru Sahib Ji and the Anand Karaj, and my understanding is the Anand Karaj ceremony was devised, composed by Guruji themselves. As a student of Sikhi who's invested a lot of your personal resources into learning and becoming aware, how would you define, based on your understanding, the concept of marriage as sanctioned by Guruji themselves?
The ceremony itself was introduced by Guru Amar Das Ji, our third Guru. And then the composing of the hymns, the lava part of the lava was composed by Guru Ram Das. And so basically it started by Guru Amar Das Ji and it ended with Guru Ram Das Ji. And when Guru Ram Das Ji married to Bibani Ji, he pretty much he was the first one uh, who got married with the Anand Karaj that we are ceremony that we're doing today. And Anand Karaj, if I will translate that into English, it will be like blissful union. So when in Red Maryada by Taksal and Shrimoni Prabandha Committee, when we read Red Maryada, it's very clear as you read Red Maryada and go into detail, you will see it always term used is man and woman entirely in Red Maryada. It never ever said in Red Maryada man or woman to woman. It was always man and woman. Whenever you go through that, it's on when you go through section 4, chapter 11, and article 18. And when you go through this all Red Maryada, you will see it's mentioning there it's man and woman period at all time. So Red Maryada is very clear that marriage is between man and woman. Now I will go more in detail, explaining and why. So first of all, let's go back to Anand Karaj. Anand Karaj, the Guruji, the way the Guruji explains in Bani, um, it's only the whole concept of Vaheguru is we have to match back to Vaheguru. And so we have an Atma, we have a Jyot inside us. Apart from Jyot, everything's a home. Home means I, may means me. My body, everything in my body, my eyes, my hands and limbs are all homemade. But it's not me. It's gonna die one day. And everything that this body owns, the house, the cars, even your relationship with your wife, your kids, everything's a homemade. I, me. And what Guru Maharaj Ji is trying to do is for us to separate ourselves from homemade. And the home is also can be described as ego and all that. But bottom line, what we are is an Atma. We are just a Jyot that came from Vaheguru. And now with our karma, with our good deeds, we can climb our ladder. Right now, we are called Manmukh. Manmukh is someone who uses his mind and runs his daily life. From Manmukh, we have to become Gurmukh. From when we become Gurmukh, that's when we go by the Bani, by the wisdom of the Guru. And that's how we climb our ladder to merge with the Vaheguru. So when the marriage is taking place, it's not we don't see man and woman. What we see is two soul, two Jyot, and when they go around Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the distance between the Guru Maharaj and the bride is same as the distance between the Guru Maharaj with the bridegroom. It's the same distance. And those two souls are getting married to the Vaheguru in combined. So all three are getting married. And as you understand the lava as composed by Guru Ramdas, it's all is getting to know the Vaheguru and then merging with the Vaheguru. That's all it is.
America, continuing our discussion about Anand Karaj, and you informed us, educated us on the founding of the Anand Karaj ceremony by Guru Amar Das and Guru Ram Das, and you described the basics of do jodh, two souls taking part in a ceremony which is combined with the Guru Sahib themselves. When they're going around, the Guru Granth Sahib is the equidistance. You gave that description and detailed information also about the soul and the materialistic of home. But let's come back to our basic discussion of Anand Karj and Sikh Rahat Maryada. You mentioned that there's a jot inside all of us, and that is what is remaining once we have departed from this earth. Our home, the self, me, and I, and mine disappear as soon as we disappear, like you mentioned, whether it's the spouse, whether it's the children, whether it's the materialistic house, car, they all remain. Yet we depart. And what is it part of us that sort of identifies us is the soul. Anandkaraju defined as two souls coming together. There's a phrase that I've heard from a lot of people, Do Murti Ik Jot, two beings, one light. Basically, two souls are coming together, two people are coming together. They're going through this Anandkaraj ceremony, and they're becoming one united soul. And based on the description that you was giving, I'd like to question on that concept, and I'd like some clarification for the benefit of the audience and the younger generation that may be listening. If we're talking about two people and soul uniting, what is there as an issue when two souls belong to two guys or two girls who go through this marriage ceremony? Are they not two beings being united with Guru Sahib?
Very good question. And that Bani that you took out is also from Guru Amar Das Ji, and Guru Amar Das Ji is the one who gave that Bani to us. Now, first we have to ask ourselves, why do we marry? What is the reason we marry? The main reason to marry, so we can have a ghar grihasti jivan, ghar grihst. Yani, that means we can have a family life. Family life is when a man and woman is married, is not a family. It's not a family. It's not a complete family till you have kids. Once you have a child, whether it's 1, 2, or 3, now you have a family. So man and man can't produce babies. It's not a family, not a ghar grihasti jivan. Woman and woman can't produce baby. It's not a ghar grihasti jivan. The reason we say, okay, it's time for you to get married is basically, I'm going to go a little bit back here and say scientific reason of human being. The scientific reason, the scientific purpose that describes the human being is to breed. That is the only scientific purpose of human being, is to breed. And if any individual who cannot breed, whether it's physical or mental, if it's mental, we call it mental disorder. And when a man doesn't have any appeal towards the opposite sex, that's a mental disorder. If any man or any woman can't get pregnant, or any man don't have the fertility to get a woman pregnant, that's a physical handicap right there. So going back to the marriage, is all about ghar grihasti. Now, fornication is not allowed in Sikhi. That means you can't have sex before the marriage. And also, adultery is not allowed. That means when you get married, you can't have sex with any other person. So only way you can make love is through when you get married. That's the only way. That's the only time you're allowed. And then another thing is here which is important. We have 5 thieves that Gubani says that we have to get rid of from us. And that is Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar. So I'm going to go to number 1, which is Kam, which is a lust. So we cannot have lust in us, period. The only time we make love is to our spouse, is only reason is to have babies, period. This closes everything. And that's why it becomes very logic why. And then if you look, I'm going to give you another example here. Sikhism started when Guru Nanak was born. Guru Nanak was born in 1469. Um, and then he went on Udasi when he was around 20, 27 years old, something like that. And that's where he started the foundation of Sikhism. I don't look at when Guru Nanak started the preaching of Sikhi. I look at when Guru Nanak was born, 1469. Because to me, as much as Gurbani is important, so is the Sakhi. And when Guru Nanak was born, there's a lot of Sakhi that teaches a lot of things. So 1469 to when Guru Gobind Singh, our Daswe Maharaj, when he gave the Guru Gaddi to Guru Granth Sahib Ji, from 1469 to 1708, our Sikhism was with our true Guru, living Guru, for 212 years. And in that 212 years, there is not even one Sakhi that says that within there, when they were on this planet Earth, that they witnessed or they agreed from man to man to man marry or woman to marry. For 212 years, from Guru Nanak Dev Ji to Guru Gobind Singh, 212 years. So Sakhi is very important. You can debate on Rahat Maryada, you can debate on anything. We are followers of our 10th Guru, we are followers of our Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and we are followers of our Guru Khalsa. We have 12 Gurus. And that's who that you live our life from example of and by the Bani. We do not leave anything outside of that. So if man-to-man marriage did not happen in 212 years while they were here, how can we allow something? Because the reason we are doing all this, because Manmukh is the one who's doing it. Manmukh are the one who's going by their mind, and they want to do what they want to do. But the Gurmukh will go by the words of the Bani, Sakhi, and what Rahat Maryada does. So the journey of Sikhi is from Manmukh to Gurmukh to Brahmgyani. And once you become Brahmgyani, you merge back to Vaheguru. That's the whole concept behind Sikhi, is merging back to Vaheguru. And the purpose of life when men and women come is to have babies. And it can only happen to Ghar Grihastha Jivan, a family life. And a family life only exists when there's a children. Man and woman marrying is not a family, it's only a couple. We call them couples, but it's not a family. The main purpose of Anand Karaj is to have a Ghar Grihastha Jivan.
Thank you on that, Ameet ji. And Kargrasti Jeevan, I think you've described that fairly well for people to understand that. And as briefly as you could, you've very much answered the question I had posed to you. What I'd like to do is also address this concept. You said that home and lust is one of the 5 evils that we need to eliminate out of our lives. Associated with the descriptions you gave earlier, this let's identify as a mental challenge when we find 2 people of the same sex having an attraction to each other. It's not something of the 21st or the 20th century. History of the world demonstrates that this lifestyle has existed maybe a couple of generations after Adam and Eve, if we accept the theory of Adam and Eve. But if that lifestyle, if that biological challenge has been around for time immemorial, if that's the right phrase, then how does Sikhism address that life form, lifestyle, aside from the Anand Karaj? Or the other question is, theologically, is that even addressed? Or is the just basic concept, like you described, the goal of humanity is to regenerate? Because basic science, whether it's the animal kingdom, whether it's we are part of the animal kingdom, and it doesn't matter what form, whether it be the monkey, the lion, the giraffe, the rhinoceros, the humans, the ideology is to regenerate the next generation, because if the next generation is not generated, then everything comes to an end in that concept. And we know from science that there are many species who are very limited in numbers, whether that be from us humans overhunting, or whether it be extinction from other reasons. But in order to ensure that even those species get to continue, there's concerted efforts by environmentalists, scientists, to have those species regenerate new generations. And we hear it on the news many times that some limited species has just had a offspring, and there's sort of celebration in that regard. So coming back to this, like you said, an attraction of two guys or two girls could be identified as a mental issue, medical issue, maybe a better word. How does Sikh theology address that, or does it not?
Before I'll answer to that, you also went back to Adam and Eve. Um, in Sikhi, we have yugas. Um, we have Satyug, we have Treta Yug, we have Dwapar Yug, Kal Yug. I'm going to go back to Satyug, Narsing, Parlad, and Harnakashyap. When Harnakashyap said that he cannot be killed either by a man or woman, then Narsing took the root of something in the middle. Neither he was a man and neither was a woman. And also in Ramayana also, there's a mention of gay being there. When Ram was sent to Banwas for 13 years, he went, and then there's all people from his praja, uh, the common people, all the people followed him to the border of the country. And then when he reached the border of the country, he said, okay, I'm going to go now to my Banwas. I want all the men and women to go back home. And then he returned back after 13 years. He found that the gays were still sitting outside where he left them. And then he asked them, what are you doing here? And they said, when we came with you, you said all the men and women, let's go back. And so we were neither men and women, so you did not give the order to us to go back. So we're waiting here for you for 13 years, for when you come back, you will tell us what to do with us. And Sri Ramji told them that without you, there is no my Raj. I need you in my Raj. Without you, there is no Ram Raj. And he took them with him into his kingdom. And then that was in Ram's time. And then there came Dwapar Yug. In Dwapar Yug, there was a transgender, Sikandi. I'm not going to go too much detail on Sikandi's story, but Sikandi was brought in by Krishna to kill Pitama Bhishma, because Pitama Bhishma will never raise his hand against a woman. He will give his life for that. And Sikandi was a born woman, but by some the powers back then, he was made into a man. And but Pitama Bhishma did not recognize his transgender. He said, what he was before is what I recognize. He was a woman before, and that's what I see as what he was born as biological. So he put his weapon down, and then Arjuna killed him with hundreds of arrows hitting on the back. Then in Kali Yuga, there's also another Saki. When our Guru Maharaj, Garib Niwas, Guru Nanak Ji, when he went on Udasi, when he went to Baghdad, and in the garden with A lot of people there. There was a Sufi saint by the name of Sheikh Saraf, and he was a cross-dresser. He dressed up in ornaments. He was wearing 16 ornaments. He had kajal on. He had henna on, and he was singing ghazal for his loved one. And then Guru Nanak asked him, "What is he doing?" He said, "I'm here, and I'm calling for my lover." See, for the saint, they don't recognize any other love. They don't recognize a love between a man and a woman. They don't recognize a love between kids or anything like that. They only recognize the love for the God. That's all they know. By Guru. That's what they believe in. And then and the Guru Maharaj told him, you don't have to dress up in a woman, dress up like a woman in order to meet the Vaheguru. You can be just a man, and you can be the love for our Lord husband. So in Bani, our Vaheguru is our Pritam, our Lord husband. We are the bride. That's how Bani says it. So with history, with our Guru's time, yes, they existed. They existed all the way to Satyug. But here's how it is. When I will die, when I will die, I will leave every home behind. The only thing will go with me is my Atma, my soul. Depending on my karma, or my deeds, on my lekha and keta, whatever I did, then Guru Maharaj, either if I went up to the avastha of Brahmagyani while living in this body, then I will be joining back to my Vaheguru, and that's the whole moksha in Sikhi. But if I didn't, I was didn't live, was able to become Brahmgyani or up to that level of Gurumukh, then I will find another body, and that body will be given according to what was my deed of this life. And then when we get the other body, we do not choose whose house we're going to be born, what kind of body I will get, what country I'll be born, who will be what religion my parents will be following, or what religion I will follow, because Guru resides everywhere. So, and what Guru Maharaj is saying, so like I mentioned about 5 thieves we should not have is Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar. But then Guru Maharaj is saying about the 5 virtues we should have is Sat, Santokh, Daya, Nimrata, and Pyar. One of the 5 virtues is Santokh. Santokh means be happy what God gave you, because it was God's will. I could be given a body of a handicap. I could be missing limbs. I could be born deaf. I could be born blind. But the Guruji is saying, whatever you get, have santokh in it. Contentment. Be happy what you get and live your life with it. So, if I'm born with my brain that is attracted towards my same sex, like science also says, it's a mental disorder. It's a handicap. We need to have santokh. And the santokh is basically a celibacy life now. You can't have lust. And you can only have sexual relationship with your wife. And sexual relationship only with your wife comes when you will have a Ghargrihastha Jivan. If you can't have Ghargrihastha Jivan, then celibacy is the only route for you. And there have been even in Sikhi, there have been people who had celibacy life, so there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But we cannot discriminate. In Sikhi, there is no discrimination against your gender orientation or anything like that. Guru Angad Dev Ji said that we need to have a Halemi Raj. Halemi Raj means compassionate Raj, with a lot of compassion. And that is a Khalsa Raj, Halemi Raj. And everybody and everything, like you mentioned, need to be respected. We cannot discriminate against it. It is the Western science, and even in Christianity, they try to do some therapy on them. electrical therapy, electrocution therapy. They went through the camp to change that, and that's where the revolution of them standing up for themselves is pretty much starting from. All this was not happening in India. All this was not happening when all my guru time was there. It wasn't happening in Fiji Island. No, there was no discrimination against gay. They lived among us like any other regular being. All this started is by the Western science, and I don't want to say this, but Christianity also started making camps and doing therapy on them, and that is wrong. That is wrong. And I understand where they're standing up for their right, and I don't mind if they go and have a legal marriage and in an office of government registrar, major registrar, and they can and as a Sikh, they can do anything. They can come and do the part. They can do anything as a Sikh. They are If the two consenting others doing anything among themselves, it's not my business. But they have to understand the five thieves is one of them is lust, and if they are doing it for lust, then it will be all written in the Keta, in their deeds. But if they will decide to take Amrit and they become Amritdhari, then celibacy is what that's the price they will have to pay. To become an Amritdhari, there's always a price to pay. Someone will pay some price to become Amritdhari. It's not easy. When Guru Maharaj, Guru Gobind Singh said, "Who will give the head to the Guru?" That was the price he was asking at the at this from the Sikh back then. Who is willing to give their head to the Guru? Come forward. And those who came forward were given the Khalsa. They became the Khalsa. And Guru Gobind Singh is a Khalsa. Khalsa hai khas mera.
On that, I need
So,
to interrupt Ameet because of time limits. My apologies. Um, we're going to put this together. It's very interesting. It's very detailed. You provided a lot of information and you answered my historical question. And theologically and through the Satyugs that we've had, according to theological history of India, and you referred to the various deities of time. I really appreciate that and the recognition of my concept of these beings have existed since time immemorial. But we need to conclude today's session. But I want to keep the door open and request that we carry this conversation on and we bring it to a better conclusion than me interrupting you. But time is our enemy. So my apologies. We have to fit this into a 30-minute session. But let's review our discussion today and continue because it's very interesting and I think it's very informative for our younger generation to understand what you said about Sikhism. Sikhism does not discriminate, and that goes back to my earlier comment, Manaski Ekojat, and you identified as even from Lord Rama and his exile, the references. So I appreciate that. I want to thank you for this session. Look forward to having another discussion with you. ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਦੇਖਣ ਦਾ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਸੋਚ ਟੀਵੀ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਇੰਦਰਜੀਤ ਕਾਲੀਰਾਏ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਡ ਮੰਥ ਜੋ ਜੂਨ ਦਾ ਮਹੀਨਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਇਹਦੇ ਕਾਰਨ LGBT ਪ੍ਰਾਈਡ ਮੰਥ ਜੋ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਆਪਣੀ ਹੋਈ ਸੀ ਅਮੀਤ ਜੀ ਹੁਣਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਉਹ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਸਿੱਖ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਦਾ ਬੇਸਿਕ ਮੀਨਿੰਗ ਇਹੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਿੱਖਦੇ ਹੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਖੋਜ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੀ ਗਿਫਟ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਥੋੜੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਹੈਗਾ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਖੋਜ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੀ ਸਮਝ ਸੋਚ ਵਧਾਉਣ ਤੇ ਜੁੜੇ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਜੋ ਇਹ ਆਪਣਾ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਡਿਸਕਸ਼ਨ ਸੀਗਾ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਡ ਮੰਥ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੇ ਰਾਈਟਸ ਗੇ ਮੈਰਿਜ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਦੋਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿਆਹ ਹੋਣੇ ਔਰ ਦੋ ਮਰਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿਆਹ ਹੋਣੇ ਉਹ ਕਿਆ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਰਹਿਤ ਮਰਿਆਦਾ ਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਆ ਔਰ ਸਿੱਖ ਰਹਿਤ ਮਰਿਆਦਾ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਅਕਾਮੋਡੇਟ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਡਿਸਕਸ਼ਨ ਆਪਣੀ ਬੇਸਿਕ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਲਈ ਹੈਗਾ ਔਰ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਜੋ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸੋਚ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਖਿਆਲਾਤ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਂਝੇ ਕਰੋ। ਈਮੇਲ ਅੱਗੇ ਵੀ ਦੱਸੀ ਸੀ, ਹੁਣ ਫਿਰ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ajkalamerica@outlook.com। ਹੋਰ ਅੱਗੇ ਜੋ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੋਵੇਗੀ ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਇਨਪੁਟ ਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਦੇਵੋ, ਸਮਾਪਤੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਮਿਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਗਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ। ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ, ਸਾਂਝੀ ਸੋਚ ਟੀਵੀ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਇੰਦਰਜੀਤ ਕਾਲੀਰਾਏ। Okay, Ameet ji, thank you very much.